So, are you thinking about making your brand or your seasoning line organic? Let me save you some time and money. What's up, people? Welcome back to another episode of launching your own brand of seasoning and spices. Today, we're talking about organic, what it actually means to have a certified organic certification, right? So, before we dive into explaining what organic certification actually means, I want to get something clear. For some reason, people tend to rely on the fact that their product is organic to look more premium versus creating something that actually sells, right? There's a very big difference. The thing is, saying that your product is organic sounds very sexy, it sounds very cool, but a lot of people don't really know what that entails, and is it something that's actually necessary for you to appear cool? Organic actually means this isn't just marketing. To use that label, you need certification from the USDA organic people themselves. All right, so your ingredients need to be 100% organic. The process needs to be very different. This means that the ingredients need to be all organic. The process needs to be followed with strict rules, right? The suppliers need to be approved by the USDA organic as well. So there are pockets of things that you can't bypass, that you have to follow through with for you to even get access to this certification. This is the part that a lot of people don't tell you about. It's not cheap to have your brand be certified organic. There is annual fees involved. There is certification fees involved, right? There is higher ingredient costs, right? So there's a lot of external variables and a lot of additional costs that comes with being certified organic. So you really want to think about it in terms of, is it necessary for your brand and do you actually need it? At the end of the day, organic ingredients can go for 20 to 50% higher than non-organic ingredients. So before you even are able to set a price for your product, you already have this higher margin. So you really have to think about it. The other thing about going organic is the fact that it limits your flexibility. You can't decide one day you want to change ingredients, you want to swap certain things. Everything has to be approved, everything has to be tested, everything has to be organic. Like, you have to keep going through that vigorous stress test system before you can just add or swap out ingredients. And to be honest with you, being an organic brand, it really only matters if your customers care about that, right? Like, most chefs, most restaurants, most industrial places, they don't really care about it so much. But if your clientele, your customers, your following, your community are super health conscious, are very aware of what they're putting into their body, and they're hypersensitive on ingredients and where they're coming from, then maybe that's something you need to look into. So you have to really weigh your pros and cons in terms of who your clientele is or who you want your clientele to be. And based on who you want them to be, then you're able to make that decision of who you're going to actually go with in terms of, are you going to be an organic brand or are you going to be a non-organic? I would say one of the perks maybe is the fact that because you are certified organic, you are able to charge a premium price, right? I would say that's one of the benefits to being certified organic. You're able to justify a higher price point because everything is certified organic. You can talk about your process, how strict it is, how everything has to be checked, double checked, how every purveyor, every person, every vendor that you work with has to be approved by the USDA organic. So those are some selling points. Now, the money question of the day is, should you start out as an organic brand? And that just really depends. No, for most beginners, because automatically you have to come up with more money. You have to think about, are you able to create the products that you want, because the rules and the laws are much more strict, right? Versus, are you aiming for a more premium line? Are you aiming for a more health conscious vibe, right? Then if that's the case, then yes. So you, at the end of the day, it always falls back on you, the creator, the owner of the brand, which route you want to take. So to close us off, I'll leave you with this. Don't go organic to appear premium. Go organic because your customers and your clientele wants it. All right? Until next time, stay spicy.